Hello and welcome to Rural Concerns Special Ed Fringe Bonus Edition. Woohoo! Hope everyone is well. Thank you for listening. This is just a shorter episode because I am on my own. I am on my own at the minute. Producer James is on a family holiday. Oh God, I don't remember where he's gone. Where's he gone? It's somewhere nice anyway. He keeps do you know when someone calls you but they make it a video call and you're like, why are you doing this? I don't want to look at you while I'm speaking to you. But it's because he's ringing me from some sun-drenched terracotta sort of tavern little house thing. Do you know what I mean? So he's not, and also this boy, he will not put on a shirt. He's just calling me all hours of the day, topless. I don't know. I tell you what, no, he's in good nick for an old boy. Do you know what I mean? He's, I can't, Nicola, my wife, she's suddenly she was with me and she's like, James is calling, he ain't got a top on. Do you know what I mean? She nearly snatched the phone out of my hand. They still managed to sort of do little edits on the episodes that we've done and get it out. So respect for doing stuff for the podcast, even if you're busy, which brings us directly on to Sunil Patel. He's in Edinburgh. I saw him briefly yesterday. He's just up for 3 days or something like that, see a few shows. He's on holiday. Everybody's recognising him as well. Everyone's saying, are you that guy of that Nationwide advert? And he's like, yeah, that's me. People are taking pictures with him and stuff. So that's good fun. I think we're having good fun. So I'm just going to sort of tell you, like I say, we recorded episodes in the run-up to Edinburgh, and I think you can hear the anxiety in my voice in those final ones. But now we're getting to the point where we haven't got James is on holiday. I'm still at the Fringe, but we're going to be back on track for next week. So James suggested I just do a little Edinburgh Fringe download of what's going on in my head. I tell you this, it's harder doing this when it's just me. And so, I mean, sometimes it does feel like just me, doesn't it? Because you can hear Sunil tapping away on his iPhone. But anyway, do you know what I mean? We're having a good time. I'm recording this on the 10th of August at 8:42 a.m. So I've been here since the 1st. This is my 11th day here. Bloody hell, that's come round. So I'm just going to explain sort of what it's been like. It's one of those things where I'm having a brilliant time, I have to say. I've done these shows and they've been more or less, touch wood, a good time. I'm having a laugh. I did the first couple of shows to a very small amount of people, 9 people. But I've done a lot of Edinburgh Fringes. I've had bad Edinburgh Fringes. I've performed shows. I mean, me and Amy Gledhill performed famously to an audience that was called Norman, some horrible guy that... Maybe he wasn't horrible, but he came in to get out of the rain and just sat while we did a show next to the projector and read his paper. Do you know what I mean? Good lad, actually, I think. But we've done that as Edinburgh Fringe shows, so I've taken 9 people. But they've been good. I've been having a laugh. It's nice. I've met a few people from the Creamery and people who listen to the podcast in general, and I still can't get my head around that. It's still, I met Lucy, who was one of our Patreons. I bumped into her in Monkey Barrel, where I was cutting bits of reviews and stuff like that. So you staple, they call them flashes. So you if you get a review, you snip it up, staple it to your flyer. So when you give a flyer to someone, it looks like there's this is stuff that's coming in. It's very old school hardcore street sales. Do you know what I mean? You're managing teenagers. It's a gang of street kids, managing 17-year-olds to give out flyers with your face on. Do you know what I mean? Throwing them paper money. It's quite full on. But I think I'm going to speak for everybody at the Edinburgh Fringe when I say we're having the best time. No, that's not the case. James has told me to keep this tight. He was quite, do you know what I mean? He didn't want to edit it too much. He's on a family holiday. Do you know what I mean? So I met Lucy, who's one of our patrons, and just the fact that anyone listens to this, honestly, still gobbles my mind a bit like that. And I find it so exciting. I'm so proud of it. I'm so happy that people are enjoying it. So I think when I met her, I went bright red and just talked at her, I think for 40 minutes straight. Do you know what I mean? Without a gap, because I was just so overwhelmed. It's like a first date. It's like one of those mad ones you read at Guardian, and I send 2 people out and one of them's terrible. And I was terrible. But it was, thank you. It was nice to meet. And I met Gareth, who's also one of the Patreon supporters, a lovely gent. So that was nice. And we have Carlos coming on the 23rd, who runs the No Context Rural Concerns account. So I've got something very special for them to give away. So it's right. So how do I, if you have a bit, because Edinburgh Fringe, we're in the Edinburgh Fringe now, but you do not, it's hard to explain it to the outside here because it doesn't matter to some degree. People don't know it's going. Like to me, I've been working towards coming here for 18 months, really. Maybe it's slightly longer, 2 years. It's been such a huge thing in my life. It's cast such a shadow over the rest of the year, getting ready. Because you are working on pulling this together. I'm going to some of you might have seen me going around traveling and doing preview performances, dying on my arse in Darlington. There's photos, there's marketing, there's all this mad stuff that just takes up a lot of time through the year. But I'm well aware that it is an arts festival, and a lot of people, it just don't even register that it's a thing, that it's going on. And I'm acutely aware that the world is sort of on fire while I'm deliberating over exactly how I'm reading a line and stuff like that. And I need to tighten that joke up. There's a better punchline and stuff like that. Some knobhead's just thrown a bin through a W.H. Smith or something like that. So, but it is very full on. It's a very full on time. I think what happens is, because I've done a few of these now, it's for the entire month, I believe that your adrenaline in your body is so much higher than it would normally be. Because when you get there, you're tense, knuckles are tense, you're trying to figure out, there's so much on the ground logistics to sort out when you arrive. Have my posters arrived? How am I getting into my accommodation? All of these different types of things. I don't have to worry about the accommodation 1% because I get to stay with my friend Sean, who lives in Meadowbank, who I used to work with in London, and he moved up, and he's just a great guy who puts up with me and he's washed some of my clothes as well. He's a good lad. We do have different, there's a conversation that's been had, Ari, please can you shut the fridge door? Please can you shut the front door? Do you know what I mean? So, but with his fridge door, it's like an IKEA sort of, I don't know how to describe it, like a fashion, like it's in a cupboard, his fridge freezer, and the cupboard cover is it sticks hard. So I said to him, so that one's sort of 50-50, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? He's having a good time. Do you know what I mean? Taking 2 days off, and I'm annoyed with that now because I was taking 2 days off so I could go home and see Nicola and the boy for 2 days because my dad on it. The last time I was here, I was very unhappy. For various reasons. It's a complicated one, but me and my friend were doing, my friend Amy Gledhill, who I'm in my double act with, we called The Sausage. We had a brilliant year in terms of what's the word in terms of the hard stats, we had a brilliant time. We sold out as one. We had some brilliant reviews, this sort of the hard metrics that tell everyone you're having a good time. But for various logistics-based reasons, it was a very full-on year, quite stressful. And my solo show that I also did that year it was like a toe dip back in the world of stand-up after a hiatus. And I didn't really love it, to be honest with you, and I found it really hard. I found it really hard to do because I'd done the thing with my friend for so long, which was all I did largely. And we've done some amazing stuff, which I'm so proud of, but it has been a bit of a challenge to basically step out from behind mum's skirt, do you know what I mean, and be myself. So doing this podcast has been good for that, really. Just because in my double act, I play a character version of myself, whereas in this, I am myself. And there is no divisible line between these two things. It's like a psychological concept. But so I booked these 2 days off thinking I need a proper break. But I looked at the calendar. I booked it. I can't wait to see you guys. Looked at the family calendar. They're away. They're going camping. So I guess that fair enough. Fair enough. Have a good time, lads. I'll see you when I get home. What am I going to do? I'm going to stay up, I think, and see lots of shows because I'm enjoying that. And normally when I come here, like, because we do this like massive multimedia sketch comedy stuff, it's so labour intensive in terms of like we have to get all this tech sorted, we have to very often write the last third of the show and stuff, so we rarely would be watching someone else's show for like the first 10 days or whatever, because it's like an intense sweatshop of like getting the show right. Whereas this time the show that I've come with it's a solo endeavour. It's a lot, it's done largely. So I feel in a better place to go out and see people's stuff. So I've seen a few shows. If you're up at the Fringe, here are like the little recommendations off the top of my head. I've seen a few stuff, but I think the three that really stand out. Well, I went to watch Ed Knight, who's a young comedian. But this kid he's got like the heart of a poet. Do you know what I mean? He's got the heart of a poet, and his jokes are really funny, and he's just a very in control sort of chap. I really like him. The show was brilliant. I saw Elf Lions, her show about, but like I don't know what it was. Elf came to my show on the first day. She's a friend from the past. You know what I mean? We've started doing open mic comedy sort of those rooms together. So she came at my show on the first day, which meant so much because there was no one there. So like a few days later, like when my wife was up, we went to watch her show, and I don't know, like I don't want to like spoil anything, but it's basically her largely pretending to be a horse for an hour. So I was like, oh, this is going to be good, silly fun. But inexplicably, I'm in tears by the end. Do you know what I mean? I was like, totally blindsided me. So I thought that was beautiful. Ed Knight, Elf Lions, and I think one of my favourite things I've seen since I've been up here was Lara Ricote. I don't think that might be naturally how her name's produced with these Yorkshire vowels, but a Latin American comedian. She lives in the Netherlands, she says. I missed her debut show, and this is her second show, and she's just got funny bones. She's just like the show is brilliant, but just what she does in between that, and you can just see this is not what we are watching. Is not an affected, well-rehearsed monologue. It was just so interesting and so funny. Like I think that really blew me away. That I've been telling anyone who listen. So there's that. I'm also I've got two shows that me and my friend are helping produce this year, which is just a fancy word for slapping stars on a board. But Tom Lawrenson, who's a comedian from Manchester, and he does sketches on the internet that you've probably seen with my friend Sam O'Leary, which are massive. They're huge. But Tom's doing a solo stand-up show, and it's just brilliant. He's one of these stand-ups that, he's written this show, and it's great. It's great. He has this real skill of veering a tangent all the way from the script in a way that I find it's so unpredictable and exciting and very funny. And he has I really like his stage persona, because he's I'd describe it as almost malevolent. They called him I think he had a review. They called him a menacing heartthrob, and I think that sums him up exactly. He's just an interesting guy. The emotions on his face, it's either nothing really registering or like a maniacal laugh. I just think he's great. I'd check that out. And I think there's a general thing of because I'm producing the other show that I'm producing, a show by a young comedian called Hannah Platt from Liverpool, who she's on at the Pleasance. You should check it. It's just this amazing. It's a debut show, but she's hit the ground running, and I don't think I've ever seen a debut that's quite as impressive, polished as that. It's really something to watch, and she's having a great run of it, because I'm helping produce the show, and all of a sudden, I think, you didn't quite realise, but I'm a Fringe veteran, which still feels mad to say, but you just blink and best part of a decade's gone by, and I think this is my 8th Fringe or 7th maybe. I need to check. That's happened, and it feels like it feels good, I think, in general, because I think there's like when you're just coming into it, there's a lot of like there's so much pressure on new acts. Like there's a real crazy energy that can, like the pressure cooker of what it's like to do the Fringe and the money it costs to get there. So basically, if you don't know what to expect and stuff, it's just very intense. Whereas now I feel like that's a bit of that's lifted to some degree. Not that I'm like smashing it to a level where I'm like in any sense comfortable for any single second, but I know the lay of the land. I know what's going on. I'm having a good time, and I can't really ask for more. And I feel like my friends that we were all sort of in that era of sort of starting at the same time, we're now suddenly slightly elder statesmen, and it's a bit calmer, and it's nice, and particularly after COVID, it's just nice to see people, and I think there's more camaraderie maybe than there might have been. I don't know how to describe it. I'm just saying it's nice and full of going, oh, I've ran over the allotted time that James gave me to do. I'll just sort of better wrap it up. God, he's probably, otherwise he might have to put a shirt on. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that's been, so I just, turns out I didn't think I needed the other two at all, but it is quite hard talking solidly on your own, so I might have to see whether Sunil wants to come back. But I just want to say thank you for listening. We'll be back at full pelt, like a bullet. Do you know what I mean? Probably next week, I think. James gonna get back off his holiday. We're gonna go from there. I might try and do one with Sunil, and if you see us, come and talk to us, just because he's not convinced that anyone listens to this at all. I also showed him the Discord group, and he was like, fucking hell, what's that? Do you know what I mean? So I said, if you see him, don't mention anything about the Discord group. So thank you so much for listening. That James put some stuff here, put some music in this one, put and then we'll have it was produced by Egg Mountain for Lovely Time Productions. It was starring Chris Cantrell on his own, doing his best. Other things that were going on, you know the things, Patreon supporters, Discord, you know what time it is. And here's an inspirational quote from me. Why can't everyone just be mates and that? Something to think about. Okay, now it's been Rural Concerns, Edinburgh edition. I feel like I want to say so much more about Edinburgh, but also not too much more. Come on, it's an arts festival. Get a grip. Get a grip. Bong. Like that.